girl named Ruth Lee Jones. That plain no name just couldn't do. Had to swing it another way, became that Dinah, that girl who sang them blues. I feel like I need to lean up on something to sing this. There may be a lot of other chicks in this world, but they ain't quite like you. They can have your money, they can wear them thighs, they can have all the lovers and the money and the whole wide world. They ain't quite like you. They ain't quite like you. There may be a lot of other chicks in this world, but they ain't quite like you.
Good afternoon and welcome back to My Harlem Portraits, the show that aims at shedding a light on the fundamental contribution of African Americans to the building of this country and on Black excellence. To represent in the utmost way Black excellence, today we have a beautiful guest. She is a recording artist, a songwriter, a producer, a voiceover artist, and a radio broadcaster. We are talking about China Moses. Welcome to My Harlem Portraits, China.
Thank you so much, Maria. Thank you so much. It's an honor.
I'm very, very happy to have you here because I've known you for some time and I know you have been an artist all your life. You
Yeah.
started to write and sing at 16 and you released your first album at 18.
Yeah.
The music and everything around the music, the culture, are literally in your DNA because your father was legendary activist and director Gilbert Moses III, and your mom is niente po' di meno che, we would say in Italian, the iconic, amazing neo jazz master Didi Bridgewater, internationally known and loved musician. How was it to grow up in this fascinating musical family?
Very free. I come from a small family, and my parents just were always very encouraging of all the kids just being themselves and doing what they want. There was no pressure to be an artist, but definitely if you showed artistic tendencies, they would go in. I mean, I've tried everything when I was a kid, you know, playing cello, drums, doing ballet, getting kicked out of ballet class because I talked too much, tap dance, gymnastics, you know, anything that I wanted to do, my parents would do their best to provide it for me. So it's a blessing. And then also when you grow up with artistic parents, you're not just growing up with them, you're growing up with their friends and the people that they know. So you have all these aunties and uncles that for you are just quote unquote the norm of what adults are, and then you become an adult yourself. You're like, oh no, everybody was literally crazy. Like all my parents, nobody had my parents do not do in I would say just, you know, wake up, go to work, go to sleep people. I'm not saying people like that are bad. I'm just saying that all the people that surrounded me were people that were chasing after artistic dreams.
Yes.
And when you're raised by that, you think that that's the norm. And when you become an adult, you realize that like, oh, okay, no, there's actually people who stop chasing after dreams along the way. And the adults that I was raised with were part of the lucky ones, you know, who had made the choices and had the opportunities and had the star that kept them going. So yeah, it was a fun childhood. I'm not gonna lie. A
Yeah,
very fun childhood.
I'm sure it was. I'm sure it was. So
Yeah.
I want to start talking about the latest incredible performance that I had the privilege of attending,
Thank
which
you so
was
much for coming.
it was amazing. It was just amazing. When you came out, I was like, "Oh my God, China!" I think everybody heard me. It was called the Battle of the Big Bands, and it was a Lincoln Center. And
Yeah.
the host said that the Battle of the Big Bang is something that happened historically in HBCUs. So tell me a little bit about that, the historical context, and who were those two bands, because they were amazing.
Well, yeah, historically they used to do Battle of Big Bands in the HBCUs and also in at the time where big bands were really popular, at time with the big bands were the DJs. So you would have the Count Basie Orchestra versus the Duke Ellington Orchestra. It wasn't happening all the time, but it was a fun thing that people would go to. And so Jazz at Lincoln Center decided to recreate that. And they've been working on the project for like 2 years, actually, I think. They've been trying to put it together. So it was the New Orleans Jazz Orchestra versus Orrin Evans's Captain Black Big Band, and was hosted by Wendell Pierce.
Mm.
And I got the call kind of late from Adonis Rose, who is the director of the New Orleans Jazz Orchestra. Um, he just asked me if I was in town and if I'd be willing to sing with them for this glorious evening. And I said yes. And then after I said yes, I was like, oh my God, did I just say yes? Because I was
What did I
teasing them.
get myself into?
Yeah, what did I get myself into? Because I was teasing them. I was just like, I was looking at the lineup and the New Orleans Jazz Orchestra. They normally have the great bass player Amina Scott on bass, but she wasn't available. So the only other woman in the band was Emily on trumpet, and I was just like, yeah, y'all are just trying to make sure that you guys seem 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 like you're a 2024 big
Yes.
band, and was laughing about it. I was like, that's a lot of dudes. I don't know. I don't want to be the singer,
Mhm.
the singer.
The token
And so,
singer.
the token singer. But I've been singing with the Nojo for a while now, actually. And also, I created a festival in the beautiful island of Tahiti called Tahiti Soul Jazz. And I brought the Nojo over. So we're like, I know the band. I've
Wow.
worked with everybody in the band. Like their drummer, Gerald Watkins, is a wonderful, like, teacher for kids. Like everybody, like Ricardo Pascal, Terrence Taplin, Amina Scott, like everybody. I've brought them over and we've hung out and spent time together. And I've also performed with them in Ascona in Switzerland. So yeah, it's a family.
It's a family, and you could see it's a family affair. It was
Yeah.
beautiful. I mean, everybody was going crazy in the audience,
Yeah, it's such a nice energy.
and it's a pretty difficult audience. So I mean, I was like, I was so it was my first day back from Italy.
Yeah.
I was jet lagged, but it was so amazing. I was just sitting back and thinking, my life is wonderful. I get
Yeah.
to see these beautiful things.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it was a beautiful evening. Such incredible music. I think they did a stellar job in choosing the selections that each band would play. Of course, Orrin Evans's Captain Black Big Band is
Yeah.
absolutely stellar. His original compositions are beautiful. Adonis Rose's original compositions are beautiful, and the whole evening really represented a spectrum of the past, the present, and the future of Black classical music. Played at the highest level, and we need to see more of that. Often, I every city can get a little too
Mhm.
isolated, So it was great to have
Really.
the
Yeah.
band from
The band
Philly and the
from
band from New
Philadelphia.
Orleans
That's
you
right.
know. Yeah, it's great.
So let's talk about your music, because
Yeah.
in an industry, the music industry as it is, where everything needs to be labeled,
Mm,
your music cannot be restricted to a specific genre. It goes
yeah.
beyond and it goes above it. It's very unique and quite defying. So how difficult or easy maybe has it been for you to get where you are now?
It's, I wouldn't say it's difficult or easy. I would just say it's all just choices and meetings. I don't do music by myself. I don't play an instrument. So I hear music, I compose, I write, I can arrange, I can produce, but I can't do it all by myself. Really, I can't.
Okay.
So a lot of my, and I don't want to actually. I really, I'm a people. I like people. I like human interaction. I like the exchange. I like the vulnerability that it requires to work with somebody, work with people. So um it's just been my life. I started off as a pop R&B singer in France, singing in French, signed to Virgin Records, you know, with the whole thing, the big video budgets and everything. And this is in the late 90s. Um, and then when I got dropped from EMI Virgin because I wasn't selling any records,
Mhm.
I at the same time started doing, I was on MTV. I was an MTV presenter for 9 years in France and international. Um, I randomly met a guy who invited me down south of to south of France, and we started doing this repertoire around Dinah Washington, which led to me having a repertoire about one of my favorite singers who actually didn't respect any genres either. She was like, y'all gonna get this voice. That's it, you know. She's somebody who's heavily influenced me, and so I ended up putting out, producing really producing my first record with a license deal with Blue Note Records. That was this one for Dinah, and that was 2009.
Mhm.
So it's pretty late that I actually came to jazz.
It's
Came to
not.
straight ahead jazz. I really wasn't trying to do it because that's mama's music, you know. We stay away from stay away from mom stuff, you know. Um, and not in a bad way. It's out of respect. And also I grew up as a hip hop head. I wanted to be a rapper, so you know, I was just doing my own thing, and hence the parents encouraging. You know, they're like, "You want to do weird electronica music? Go ahead." We don't understand it. This sounds weird to us, but it sounds great for you. Go for it. Um, so then I did the Dinah Washington tribute. This one's for Dinah, and that took me literally around the world. Before that, I didn't have a live career. Um, and because R&B in France, soul in French was not a thing that people were trying to book in
Mhm.
France. But that's a whole story for another time.
Yes.
Um, so that brought me to jazz, and it's entering the jazz world through straight ahead jazz and blues that I began having this live career and doing all these concerts, and I got pretty good at doing shows.
Yeah.
I'm definitely not the best singer technically out there, but I know how to hold down the stage. I have no fear on that sense in that sense. And I love telling stories. And people loved the stories that I was telling. I developed storytelling capabilities from doing TV and radio for so long. So that led me to do another jazz record, straight ahead jazz record, called Crazy Blues, where I covered the blues from 1929 all the way to 1978. Because everything is just a blues to me. I hear every single song I hear, I turn it into a blues in my head. So then the festivals got tired of booking me with covers.
Mm-hmm.
And every once in a while, I would do an original tune within my cover set. And a lot of the promoters and the festival, you know, people, the volunteers, everybody was like, "We liked your original stuff. We love your R&B stuff. We do that." And I was like, "Oh, wait, yo, oh, I can do my own. Wait, hold my beer. Well,
Yes.
hold my glass of wine. Let me come back." And so then I produced an album in 2014 that only came out in 2017 because nobody wanted to put it out because it sounded too different, I guess. I don't know. You know what?
Yeah.
It is what it is. It's fine. So that's when I produced my album Nightingales, which is completely original compositions. And the idea was to do a jazz trio album, but to do all the subgenres. I mean, a wide variety of subgenres of Black American music. So you have the swing song, you got the straight ahead jazz ballad, you got the funk tune, you got the R&B tune, you got the gospel inspired tune. Like every single song is its own subgenre. And we did it purposely.
And that is the album I heard of you for the first time, and I didn't know who this was. My friend who was playing, who is this? I mean, it was early in the morning and I was dancing and I was moving and I was grooving. And I said, oh my God, who's this? Because of what you just said, it was not covers. So I didn't recognize it. It was all.
Yeah, it was all my compositions with a wonderful person named Anthony Marshall, who was one of those people that if he wasn't nice, you would hate him because he's just that talented. And he is a producer for like Craig David. He was working with Nelly Furtado at the time. He's done stuff for Britney Spears. Like he's very wide. He also plays in church every Sunday. He's Jamaican, British Jamaican. And I've always been obsessed with the sound of Black British music. I was raised in France, raised in Paris. So my first place where I could get to fast, where there was Black music, was London.
Yes.
It wasn't the United States. I didn't have the money to pay for those tickets for a while. Once I became an adult, where my mother was like, I'm not paying this for you. Yeah, like get it on your own. So I was hyper independent. I wouldn't ask either. So I gravitated towards the UK scene, the acid jazz scene from the UK. There's one singer in particular. Her name is Carleen Anderson. She's a formidable singer-songwriter. She was the lead vocalist on this very prominent acid jazz record by this band called Young Disciples. And I became obsessed with Carleen Anderson. And I was like, who is this woman? I want to be where she is. And she was in London. She's American. She's from Texas, but she was in the UK. And I was like, if she can do that music there, that's where I want to go. Because I felt that in the UK, Black music as a whole wasn't as boxed in as it was when I looked towards the United States. In France, it was inexistent.
Yeah.
So I had to find a place where I felt like that when I said, I want to make a trio jazz album, but of subgenres of Black American music, that people wouldn't think I was crazy.
Yeah.
And so we came up with the album in 5 days.
Wow.
We wrote the album in 5 days, recorded it in 6. And I started, so that was November 2014.
That's crazy.
April 2015, I get an offer from the wonderful Niels Landgren, amazing trombonist and singer-songwriter, Swedish cat, and one of the funkiest, coolest musicians that have always supported my career. And he was like, you want to come play at this festival? I booked this festival. It's this huge festival called Jazz Baltica. You play in front of 3,500 people.
Yeah.
And he was like, I want you to headline the big stage with your new project.
Wow.
And that was April 2015. I was like summer 2015. And then I still couldn't find a label because where are you going to put this? It's not jazz. It's not adult contemporary soul. It's definitely not straight up, pop contemporary or R&B. What is this music? And I was just like, yeah, y'all, it's what it is. It's my music. Like, y'all don't ask instrumentalists to define their stuff, and they be going every which way. But since I'm a singer, so that made me start really insisting on the fact that I was a singer-songwriter.
Yeah.
That rejection right there. Then I found a lovely label in Germany, MPS,
Mm-hmm.
lovely. And they were like, we'll release the album. But funny enough, they said, we'll release the album. Can you wait 6 months? Because we're releasing the album with another Black singer.
Mm-hmm.
This is 2016, and I was just like, yeah, no problem. But that's the world that we live in. And I love Germans for that, because they're just direct with their stuff. They don't mean any harm. They was just telling me matter of factly. He's like, the industry will not understand if we have two Black American vocalists at the same time. The
Mm-hmm.
press won't take it. So that was smart of them.
Yeah.
And so we released it. It sold over 19,000 copies. I toured everywhere. Everywhere in Europe, some parts of Asia, and a little bit of South America, and 2 gigs in the States. I managed to get to the States. And yeah, and that was, and I toured that album from 2015 all the way up to 2020.
Wow.
2021.
That is amazing. That is
Yeah,
amazing.
it's pretty. Yeah, I've been blessed by patience of people. I've been blessed that the people who are doing the booking, they understand what I'm trying to do, the message I'm trying to defend, why I don't change my repertoires as quick as some other people can, and why I will just be like, yeah, I'm just gonna come back with a different band.
Yes.
I'll come back
Plus,
with a
it's
different
never the
formation.
same thing.
It's never the same thing. So, and then I always come back to that. Y'all won't ask an instrumentalist to do that. So why are you asking me?
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Like, and most of the time they're just like, didn't think about it that way. I was like, there you go. So thank you. Yeah, Night and Tales is I'm really proud of that record.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah.
And then after that, you did the Vibe Tribe.
Yeah. Mm.
Tell me a little bit about that, and then we'll go to your next one.
So the digital EP, the Vibe Tribe. So basically, I call whoever's lending me their talent my Vibe Tribe. Without them, I'm not capable. But I ended up with an incredible band before the pandemic. So for 2015 to 2020, 2021. My musical director was an amazing saxophonist from Italy named Luigi Grasso. Everybody in the States knows his brother Pasquale Grasso because guitar god. Yeah. But his brother Luigi is a saxophone god. And Luigi and I met when I was doing straight ahead jazz, and he stayed on with me when I started doing my original music. And we taught each other a lot. My brother, I love Luigi so much. And so I had Luigi Grasso, this 2 British pianists who now have their own solo careers. One is Joe Armin Jones of Ezra Collective, and the other one is Ashley Henry. The bass player, Neil Charles, who plays a lot with Mulatu and a whole bunch of people. He's really in the jazz avant-garde scene also around the world. And the drummer is a Lithuanian drummer named Marius Alexa. So the band sounded, for a few years of touring together in different variations, I was like, I need to catch this. And so we just went into the studio, and I just caught the vibe of the live shows, which is different from the album. And I just wanted to have that snapshot. And I actually recorded that in 2018, and I forgot that I'd done the sessions. And so when the pandemic hit, when the pandemic hit, I was like, oh,
I have some music.
I might as well share this. We're not touring. I mean, I got lucky during the pandemic. I had concerts. I managed to flip through closings and openings, in different European countries and stuff. It was quite interesting. But yeah, I was like, oh, I can share this. I want to share this. And so I have a videographer who comes
Mm.
with me on tour. He's great. A Brazilian German cat named Adriano Vanini. So he had a lot of footage. I was like, yo, can you make some videos? And
Mhm.
let's just put out this digital EP because I wanted to share that moment in time, just like, just like the big instrumentalists do. They
Yes.
have their bands, their formations that work certain sound, and people like that band in particular. So I started treating my bands like that. So that's the first of many. I have actually two other live albums that have recorded and mixed, but it's all about time and money to put
You
things
have
out.
one coming out soon,
Yeah,
2024, I hear, the 7th.
yeah, yeah. The
Tell
seventh
me about
record.
that.
It's called It's Complicated. Now, the full album will only be available at CDs and vinyl at my concert.
Mhm.
At my concerts this fall. You'll be able to order them also online, but it won't be available digitally because why? I'm a live artist. I've decided, I think one of the things that I really, really meditated on during the pandemic was what kind of artist am I? What do I want to, what am I trying to do
Yeah.
as an artist? And and for a very long time, since I was a kid, actually, I knew I wasn't trying to be famous. I've never had a desire for popularity.
Mhm.
I have a desire for connection. I have a desire for learning and exchange. And I like bringing people joy. So
And
stage
you
is the
do
place. Thank you. And stage
a
is the
lot.
place where I feel comfortable. And so I'm going to release maybe two digital EPs.
Mhm.
The full album won't be online because I'm also somebody who works in media. I have
Yeah.
two radio shows.
Mhm.
There's too much music out there. I'm not there's too much music out there, and I'm not saying that in a bad way. There's just a lot of music. Even me with a daily radio show of 2 hours, there is no way I can play all of the new music that is coming out. So I want to be respectful of that. um I want to add to the great mixture of sounds that us humans are making. I'm not saying that people shouldn't put out their music, but I, I, I I'm not trying to get streams.
That's your
Um,
choice.
and that's my choice.
Your choice.
Yeah,
You want to do that. That's what
yeah. That's
you're
what that's
good.
what that's what I feel like I want to do now. I just don't want to. I want to concentrate on curating spaces for other artists to be. So I want to focus more on the festivals that I've created. I want to focus more on my radio shows and the music to be a pleasure and a sacred moment that I share with the people who decide to spend their hard-earned money, you know, on an evening at a festival or at my concerts. That's what it comes down to.
I think that is, I understand that being on a concert is a totally different vibe than recording, and I
Oh yeah.
understand that you want to be on a stage. If I
Mm.
could sing, that's what I would want to do. I would want to be on a stage as much
Yeah, I
as
mean, don't get
possible.
don't get me wrong. I would love for people just to want to blast my album out their cars and my upcoming album. It's amazing. It's produced by Troy Miller, who is a British producer who produced Gregory Porter's last album, Lauren Vula, Emily Sande, Jamie Cullum. He is a brilliant drummer who toured with Amy Winehouse and Roy Ayers for 10 years. He is amazing. And then the musicians on the record are incredible. So it's Daru Jones on drums, Michael King on piano,
Mm.
Marvin Sewell on guitar, and Michael Olatuja on bass, Theo Croker,
Oh, wow.
Lakeisha Benjamin, and Corey Wilcox. So it's an incredible group of musicians. And the songs I created them with a singer-songwriter from the UK named Ollie Rockberger, who has written, of course, for Gregory Porter. but also for Jordan Rakai and also for himself, because he's a wonderful artist. Also, he's on Hiromi's last album, Ollie Rockberger, and he used to live in New York. So the album has been done for a year or 2 years. I tried to find somebody who want to work with me. Nobody wants to work with me. It's fine. Everybody's busy. People don't see it, don't feel it enough. You know, it's quite a dedication. I don't
Yeah.
think artists that are starting out realize how much work it is for a label to onboard a new artist.
Yeah.
Um,
But you have created your own company.
yeah. I mean, yeah, I created my company in 2008. I had to.
And
I
that's
didn't have a choice.
a very good way of putting out your own things. It's
Yeah, I mean, being an artist producer is the norm now.
yeah.
I guess in 2008 it wasn't completely the norm. But it's definitely the norm now. If you are an artist, you are probably your own producer.
Yeah.
It's just knowing how to do paperwork and to read analytics.
Right. That's right.
And I mean, if you are an artist, you are financing it yourself. There's no magical way to do this. Even artists that have label deals don't actually get a lot of money.
Yeah. That has
Um,
always been the problem, though. The record company make all the money.
yeah, the record company makes all the money, but then the record companies are making less money. Everybody, it's
Well,
It's
yeah,
re- it's
because records
it's
are not there anymore as they used to be. So they have to
so
change.
the booking agents are making the money.
Uh,
You know, that's why Live Nation has just bought up all of the United States,
yeah.
and the world. But I'm a small bakery. I'm a tiny, wholesome bakery where you're allowed to bring your own drink. You're
Fantastic.
allowed to come as you are, be as you are, and
And you want to make people happy. And you
I
make
want to make people happy and laugh and think, and and create that circle of energy exchange and just honor the ancestors, honor all of my roots and all of the different colors that are within me.
yeah.
Yeah, so that's why I've always refused to call myself a jazz singer. Like, people are like, "You're a jazz singer." I'm like, "No, I'm not." They're like, "You're an R&B singer." I'm like, "No, I'm not." They're like, I was like, "I'm just a singer."
Yes. I'm
I
myself.
w-
I'm
I'm
my singing.
I was raised within Black American culture, so therefore I'm gonna go a certain way. It's not like I'm automatically gonna turn to opera. Not, that's not the mainstay of the culture, even though we do have formidable opera singers, of course.
Amazing opera singers.
But amazing. I'm not saying that opera is not Black. I'm just saying, as a Black American, blues is the base
Yeah.
where I start from. And I didn't go to conservatory. I didn't study voice. My parents didn't force me to. I had no desire to.
Mhm.
I was already out of school at 16, so I'm like, why are you gonna pay money to send me to Berkeley when I can just be out on these streets learning?
Yes. That's what you wanted to do.
I wanted to run the streets. I just wanted to run the streets. I didn't want to be in class. But yeah, I think every artist should be allowed to be who they are.
Yeah. And you have managed to do that, and you are doing
Yeah.
everything. So we really have 1 minute left here. Otherwise, I cut us off, even less probably. I wanted to finish with one thing that is incredible. That
Yes.
has nothing to do with what we have talked about,
What?
but it's that one of your hidden skills is that of powerhouse researcher. You are an international educator. You're a member of the 2013 Young Leader Graduating Class of the French American Foundation. And
Yeah.
2023, you were knighted
Yeah.
the French National Order of Merit and hold the title of Knight of Saint-Emilion and Bergerac.
I love my red wine. What can I say?
It's
But yeah,
fantastic. So
yeah,
that's
it's
it.
just life. It's
We are
just life.
we're gonna conclude this amazing interview with your life story, a
Well,
bit
thank you.
of your life story on
Yeah.
this, because I never met a knight before, and surely
Well,
never met a woman knight before.
there's a couple of there's a lot of us. France has done really good on
Never met
that.
So thank you so much again, China, for this,
Thank you, Maria, for your time.
for your time. And we want to see you more in New York. Okay?
Oh, that will happen.
You're more in New York because now you live in New York and we want to see you more here.
It'll happen slowly but surely when the time is right.
Very much. Thank you for all this.